A few years ago, my uncle worked as a night taxi driver. He always said the night shift paid better. Fewer cars on the road, less traffic. But he also told me something strange. He said that after midnight, the passengers became different. Most nights were normal, people leaving bars, workers going home. But one night, something happened that he never forgot. It was around 3:40 a.m. The streets were almost empty. My uncle was driving through the older part of the city when he saw someone standing near a streetlight. It was a woman. She was wearing a long coat and standing perfectly still. At first he thought she was waiting for someone else, but then she slowly raised her hand, the signal for a taxi. He pulled over. The woman opened the back door and got inside. She didn't say anything at first. "Where to?" my uncle asked. Her voice was quiet. "Just drive." He looked at her in the rearview mirror. Her face was pale, extremely pale, almost gray. "You need to give me an address," he said. She was silent for a moment. Then she said something strange. "Take the road past the old cemetery." My uncle felt a small chill. That road wasn't popular at night, but he shrugged and started driving. For the next 10 minutes, the woman didn't say a single word. She just stared out the window. Eventually, they reached the road near the cemetery. The place was completely dark. No houses, no lights, just trees and old gravestones behind a rusted fence. "Stop here," the woman suddenly said. My uncle slowed down. "Here?" "Yes." He pulled over. The woman opened the door and stepped out. But something strange happened. She didn't close the door. She just stood there, looking at him. Then she said quietly, "Thank you for the ride," and walked away toward the cemetery. My uncle sighed and leaned over to close the door. But when he looked back, the woman was gone, completely gone. The road was empty. There was nowhere she could have disappeared that quickly. He drove home that morning feeling uneasy. But the strangest part happened the next day. When he was cleaning the back seat of the taxi, he found something. An old photograph. It showed a woman standing near the same cemetery. The photo looked very old, maybe from the 1970s. But the woman in the picture looked exactly like the passenger from last night. Same coat, same face, same empty expression. And on the back of the photograph were 3 words written in faded ink. "Last ride home." A few years ago, I worked the night shift in an old office building. The building had 12 floors, but almost everyone went home by 8 p.m. After midnight, the entire place felt empty. Just long hallways, dim lights, and the constant humming of machines. My job was simple. I worked in IT and sometimes had to stay late to fix servers or update systems. One night around 1:30 a.m., I finished my work and decided to go home. The elevator was at the end of the hallway. When I pressed the button, I noticed something strange. The screen above the elevator showed a floor number that shouldn't exist. Floor 14. But the building only had 12 floors. I frowned and assumed it was just a glitch. After a few seconds, the elevator doors opened. Inside, the lights were dim, almost flickering, but I stepped in anyway. I pressed the button for the ground floor. The doors closed slowly. The elevator started moving. But instead of going down, it went up. The numbers on the screen changed. 10, 11, 12. Then something appeared that I had never seen before. 13. The elevator kept moving. 14. My stomach tightened. There was no 13th or 14th floor in the building. The elevator suddenly stopped. The doors opened. The hallway outside was completely dark. No lights, no signs. Just a long corridor disappearing into darkness. For a moment, I thought about pressing the close button and leaving. But curiosity got the better of me. I stepped out. The floor felt colder than the rest of the building. The air smelled old, like dust and something rotten. I pulled out my phone and turned on the flashlight. The beam of light revealed old office doors along the corridor. Every single door had a number scratched into it, but the numbers didn't make sense. 201, 305, 117. They were completely random. Then I heard something, a distant sound, like someone slowly dragging something across the floor. I froze. The sound came again, closer this time. Scrape, scrape. My heart started racing. "Hello?" I called out. No answer. Just the scraping sound again. Then I noticed something behind me. The elevator doors. They were closing. "Wait!" I shouted as I ran back. But the doors shut before I could reach them. The elevator started moving again, leaving me alone on the dark floor. My phone light flickered slightly, and that's when I saw it. At the end of the corridor, a figure standing in the darkness. Tall, thin, completely still. I couldn't see its face, but I knew it was looking at me. Then the scraping sound started again, but this time, it wasn't coming from the hallway. It was coming from right behind me. I slowly turned around and saw a new door that hadn't been there before, right next to the elevator. On the door were freshly scratched numbers, 14, and underneath it, my apartment number.
A few years ago, I lived alone in a small apartment on the first floor of an old building. The place was cheap, which was the only reason I could afford it. But there was something strange about the apartment. The bedroom window faced a narrow alley between two buildings. Almost no sunlight ever reached it. During the day, the alley looked empty and quiet. But at night, it felt different. Every sound echoed through it. One night, around 2 a.m., I woke up for no reason. The room was dark, completely silent. Then I heard something. A faint tapping sound. Tap, tap, tap. It was coming from the window. At first, I thought it was just a branch hitting the glass, but there were no trees near the building. The tapping happened again. Tap, tap, tap. Slow and deliberate, like someone tapping their finger on the glass. My heart started beating faster. Slowly, I turned my head toward the window. At first, I couldn't see anything, just darkness outside. Then my eyes adjusted, and I saw him. A man standing in the alley, right outside my window, completely still. He was tall, too tall. His head almost reached the top of the window frame. I couldn't see his face clearly because the alley was so dark, but I could see that he was looking directly at me. Neither of us moved. I told myself maybe he was just someone walking through the alley. Maybe he stopped for a moment. Maybe he would leave soon. But he didn't move, not even a little. Minutes passed. 5, 10. He was still standing there, watching me. Finally, I gathered enough courage to get out of bed. I walked slowly toward the window. My legs felt weak. When I got close enough,
I could finally see his face. And that's when something felt wrong. Very wrong. His eyes were wide open, too wide. And he wasn't blinking, not even once. His mouth slowly stretched into a smile, but the smile didn't look human. It looked forced, like someone trying to copy a smile without knowing how. Suddenly, he lifted his hand and knocked on the glass 3 times. Knock, knock, knock. I jumped back. My heart was pounding so hard it hurt. "What do you want?" I shouted. The man didn't answer. He just kept smiling. Then he spoke. His voice was quiet, but I could hear it clearly through the glass. "I live here." My stomach dropped. "No, you don't," I said. "Yes," he replied calmly. "I live here now." I grabbed my phone and turned on the flashlight. The bright light illuminated the alley. But when the beam hit the spot where the man was standing, he was gone. The alley was empty. I stood there frozen for several seconds. Then I heard something that made my blood run cold. A sound behind me, inside the apartment. 3 slow knocks from my bedroom door. Knock, knock, knock.